Have you ever wished you could wake up in the morning without groaning as you swing your legs out of bed? What if your body could quietly rebuild itself while you sleep, not with expensive treatments or pills, but with the right support from two nutrients you might not even know you need? I remember Margaret, a 7-year-old retired librarian, who once told me, "Doctor, mornings are my enemy." She assumed that waking up with sore legs and stiff joints was just part of getting older. But the truth is, age doesn't steal your strength nearly as fast as nutritional gaps do. According to the National Institutes of Health, nearly half of adults over 60 experience morning discomfort not because they're aging too fast, but because their bodies are missing the essential tools needed to recover overnight. Muscles go unsupported, bones become weaker, and each morning feels heavier than the last. But this cycle can be gently reversed. Tonight, we're going to explore two little-known vitamins that can work quietly while you sleep, helping you wake up stronger, vitamins D and K2. In this first part, let's focus on the one most people have never heard of, vitamin K2. Often overshadowed by its cousin K1, which helps blood clot, K2 has a completely different job. Think of it as the traffic controller inside your body. Its mission? To guide calcium, the mineral we all associate with bone strength, into the right places like your bones and muscles, and to keep it out of places where it doesn't belong, like your arteries and joints. Without enough K2, calcium can drift into your blood vessels, hardening them over time, and instead of strengthening your frame, it becomes a silent burden. Researchers at Harvard found that people with higher K2 intake had not only fewer bone fractures, but also lower rates of heart disease. That's because K2 activates proteins like osteocalcin and matrix GLA, which tell calcium, "Go to the bones, not the arteries." This process is especially important as we age because bone density naturally declines, and the body's ability to direct nutrients weakens. K2 steps in to help restore that guidance. Let me tell you about John, a 70-year-old retired carpenter who came to me feeling frustrated. He had always been strong, always moving, always climbing ladders, but now even a flight of stairs left his legs shaking. At first, he thought it was just age catching up with him, but a routine checkup revealed that calcium had begun building up in his arteries while his bones were thinning. In other words, the calcium he thought was helping his body was actually getting lost along the way. With his doctor's support, John started eating more K2-rich foods like cheddar cheese, pasture-raised eggs, and even a small K2 supplement. Within just a few months, he noticed his morning cramps easing, he recovered more quickly from his daily walks, and the stiffness that had once greeted him each morning began to fade. His story is not unique. In fact, doctors in parts of Europe now include vitamin K2 as part of their routine care for older patients dealing with weak bones or early signs of arterial calcification. Another long-term study from the Netherlands followed thousands of adults over more than a decade. Those who consumed the highest amounts of K2 had bones that stayed stronger and arteries that remained more flexible. That means fewer broken hips, fewer heart scares, and more freedom to move confidently through later life. Vitamin K2 may not have the marketing buzz of other vitamins, but its impact on the quality of aging is profound. Now, you might be wondering where to find this quiet powerhouse. Unlike vitamin D, which we can get from sunlight, K2 hides mostly in food. Cheeses like Gouda, Brie, and cheddar, egg yolks, liver, grass-fed butter, and fermented foods like natto are some of the best sources. Natto, a traditional Japanese dish made from fermented soybeans, has one of the highest concentrations of K2 in the world. While its flavor may be an acquired taste, its benefits are worth exploring, especially for those looking to protect both their bones and their heart. But before you go searching for exotic foods, know that even simple changes, like adding a slice of cheddar or including eggs at dinner, can begin to shift the balance. What matters most is not perfection, but consistency. The body doesn't need extreme doses. It thrives on steady support, especially at night when the repair process naturally kicks in. So, now that we've uncovered the role of this underappreciated nutrient, the question is, how does it work alongside its better-known partner, vitamin D? Because while K2 shows calcium where to go, vitamin D is the one that unlocks the door to let it in. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part of this journey. Now that we've explored how vitamin K2 helps your body guide calcium to where it belongs, let's take a closer look at its essential partner, vitamin D. Often called the sunshine vitamin, vitamin D does more than protect your bones. It plays a direct role in your muscle strength, balance, and even your ability to get up from a chair without struggling. Yet, despite its importance, many older adults in the United States are quietly deficient without even knowing it. According to the National Institutes of Health, more than 40% of Americans over age 60 have low vitamin D levels. And it's not just a mild concern. This deficiency has been linked to muscle weakness, poor coordination, and a greater risk of falls and fractures. The body needs vitamin D to absorb calcium from food and supplements. Without enough of it, even the healthiest diet can leave your bones and muscles starving for support. Think of vitamin D as the gatekeeper. It opens the door so that calcium and phosphorus, the raw materials your body uses to build and repair, can enter your system. Without that open door, everything slows down. Muscle fibers don't rebuild as quickly, balance becomes shaky, and what used to feel like a light chore, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, tending to your garden, can suddenly feel like a heavy lift. One landmark study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that older adults with low vitamin D levels were nearly twice as likely to struggle with simple movements like rising from a chair or walking up steps. Another large-scale trial in Finland showed that taking vitamin D supplements reduced hip fractures by nearly 30% among seniors. That's not just a number. That's thousands of people who avoided a painful fall, a hospital stay, or worse. Let me share the story of Helen, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio. She used to love tending to her rose bushes every morning. But slowly, she found herself avoiding the garden altogether. She said to me, "Doctor, I feel like my legs have forgotten how to obey me." A simple blood test revealed that her vitamin D levels were far below normal. We didn't start with pills. We started with small steps, short walks outside in the early morning sun, changes to her meals, and regular follow-ups. Over time, something shifted. Helen's steps grew steadier. Her mornings felt lighter, and most importantly, she rediscovered the joy of moving without fear. She began bending to trim her roses again, something she thought she had lost forever. It wasn't about turning back the clock. It was about giving her muscles the support they needed to function. Vitamin D is unique because your body can make it naturally when your skin is exposed to sunlight. But that doesn't mean it always gets enough, especially during winter months or for those who spend more time indoors. That's why food and routine matter just as much. Salmon, sardines, fortified dairy products, and egg yolks are excellent sources. For some, especially those with limited sun exposure, a low-dose supplement may help maintain steady levels, but it should always be discussed with a doctor first. One of the most overlooked signs of vitamin D deficiency is morning stiffness. If you've ever felt like your legs are made of stone when you first stand up, or your joints resist movement after sleep, your body might be trying to tell you something. Vitamin D works quietly but powerfully, helping your muscles reset and recover while you sleep. It's not about high doses or quick fixes, it's about consistency and awareness. Now that we've uncovered how vitamin D supports your muscles from the inside out, you might be wondering, how do these two nutrients work together? If D is the one that opens the door, and K2 is the one that gives calcium a map, what happens when both are present in your routine? That powerful partnership is what we're about to explore next. Now that we've seen how vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium and how vitamin K2 tells that calcium where to go, it's time to bring them together. Because while each nutrient has benefits on its own, the real power lies in how they work as a team. Think of your body like a construction site. Calcium is the building material, strong, necessary, and vital. But without someone to deliver it and someone to tell it where to be placed, you end up with piles of unused material in the wrong spots. That's where vitamin D and K2 step in together. Vitamin D is like the delivery truck. It opens the gates, allowing calcium and phosphorus to be absorbed from your food and enter your bloodstream. But once that calcium is in your body, it needs directions. That's where vitamin K2 comes in. It activates special proteins like osteocalcin and matrix GLA protein that guide calcium into your bones and muscles, instead of letting it drift into soft tissues like your arteries or kidneys. When calcium ends up in the wrong places, the result is what scientists call the calcium paradox. Without enough vitamin D, the body can't absorb calcium. But without enough vitamin K2, the calcium that is absorbed might do more harm than good. It can harden arteries, stiffen joints, and even increase the risk of heart disease. That's why the combination of D and K2 isn't just helpful, it's essential. Studies continue to highlight this synergy. In a 2017 paper published in the European Journal of Nutrition, researchers found that adults who took both vitamin D and K2 had significantly higher bone density and fewer fractures than those who took vitamin D alone. Another major review in the British Medical Journal showed that this nutrient pair helped reduce vascular calcification, a fancy term for calcium buildup in arteries, which not only improves mobility but also supports heart health. Let me tell you about Robert, a 75-year-old retired firefighter. He had been taking vitamin D for years because he read it was good for bones. But despite his efforts, he still felt weak in his legs, and his doctor warned him about increasing stiffness in his arteries. After learning about K2, Robert added it to his routine first through food, then with a small supplement. Over the next few months, not only did his walking improve, but his cardiovascular health markers showed progress as well. He told me, "It feels like my body finally figured out what to do with the help I was giving it all along." His story is not uncommon. In fact, many people think they're doing the right thing by taking calcium and vitamin D, only to wonder why their bones still feel fragile or why they feel heavy in the mornings. The missing piece is often vitamin K2, the quiet director in the background, making sure every mineral ends up in the right place. Another way to think of this teamwork is like lifting a heavy box. One person lifts while the other steers. Vitamin D brings in the load, and K2 makes sure it lands safely where it belongs. Without both working together, the job becomes unbalanced. And when your body is unbalanced, that's when things start to break down. This is why doctors and researchers around the world are starting to pay more attention to this combination, especially for older adults. Not because it's trendy or new, but because the science behind it is solid and the results are practical. Stronger bones, more stable muscles, healthier arteries, and mornings that start with less stiffness and more energy. You don't need high doses or expensive treatments to achieve this. You just need to ensure both vitamins are part of your routine. That could mean including foods rich in K2, like eggs, cheese, or natto, and pairing them with vitamin D sources like salmon or fortified dairy. Or it could mean taking a supplement that combines both in safe, balanced amounts. Either way, when you give your body the tools it understands, it often responds with quiet strength. And this quiet strength, this ability to repair and rebuild while you rest, isn't just about the physical. It brings with it something deeper, a return of confidence. When you know your body is being supported, even during sleep, you move differently, you stand taller, and you face the day with steadier steps. In the next part, we'll explore how these vitamins do even more than support bones and muscles. Because the benefits of D and K2 don't stop here, they stretch into pain relief, better circulation, and even immune support. Let's keep going. By now, you've heard how vitamins D and K2 work together to protect your muscles and bones. But their impact doesn't stop there. In fact, many people who start taking these nutrients for bone strength soon notice unexpected benefits like waking up with less stiffness, recovering faster from activity, and even feeling more energized during the day. These aren't magic tricks. They're the natural result of giving your body the tools it needs to repair itself quietly, especially at night. One of the first changes many people experience is relief from morning stiffness. That heavy, dragging feeling in your legs when you first get out of bed? Research shows it's often linked to low-grade inflammation and poor circulation. Two things, vitamin D and K2, can help improve. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people with healthy levels of vitamin D had significantly lower markers of inflammation in their blood. That means less pain, fewer sore muscles, and a smoother start to your day. Meanwhile, vitamin K2 contributes to better circulation by keeping calcium out of your arteries, where it doesn't belong. When arteries are flexible and open, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to deliver oxygen-rich blood to your muscles. And when muscles get more oxygen, they function better. It's like tuning up your car's engine. It runs more smoothly, responds more quickly, and lasts longer. This benefit becomes even more important as we age. After age 60, most people lose up to 1% of their muscle mass every year. This process is called sarcopenia, and it's one of the main reasons everyday tasks start to feel harder, whether it's lifting groceries, getting up from the couch, or walking around the block. But when your body has enough vitamin D and K2, this decline slows down. Your muscles are more likely to hold on to their strength, and your body becomes more resilient overall. And it's not just about muscles. Your immune system benefits too. Vitamin D plays a critical role in how your body fights off infection. It helps activate the immune cells that recognize and destroy harmful viruses and bacteria. Multiple studies from the NIH and Mayo Clinic have found that seniors with adequate vitamin D levels get fewer colds, recover faster from seasonal bugs, and are less likely to face severe complications. Combined with the vascular support of K2, this nutrient duo helps your body stay strong in ways that go far beyond bones. Let me share the story of George, a 8-year-old former teacher who never gave much thought to nutrition. He often skipped breakfast, lived mostly on toast and coffee, and didn't see the point in changing his habits. But he began to notice something. His knees ached more, stairs felt steeper, and icy sidewalks became a real fear. After a conversation with his doctor, George made one small shift. He started adding eggs and cheese to his evening meals. Nothing extreme, just simple foods that naturally contained vitamin D and K2. Within a few weeks, he noticed the difference. Mornings felt smoother, his balance improved, and most of all, he regained a quiet confidence, like his body was no longer working against him. It wasn't a miracle. It was just consistent support, night after night. So how can you do the same? The good news is, you don't need complicated diets or expensive supplements to feel better. Some of the most powerful support for your muscles and bones can come from your dinner plate. For vitamin D, look to salmon, sardines, fortified milk, and egg yolks. For K2, try cheddar, Gouda, brie, pasture-raised eggs, chicken thighs, or grass-fed butter. If you're open to new experiences, natto, a traditional Japanese fermented soybean dish, is one of the richest K2 sources in the world. But even without exotic ingredients, a balanced evening meal can make a big difference. Try something like grilled salmon with steamed broccoli and a side of cheese, or a bowl of Greek yogurt with fruit and a boiled egg. These meals are not only delicious and comforting, they provide the nutrients your body needs to recover and rebuild while you sleep. And if supplements are part of your routine, look for ones that combine D and K2 in thoughtful, balanced amounts. Always take them with food to help your body absorb them properly. The key isn't taking more, it's taking consistently. Your body responds best to rhythm, not extremes. This steady evening support can quietly transform your mornings. And in the next part, we'll look at how a simple 30-day focus on these nutrients can lead to lasting change, turning today's small choices into tomorrow's strength. So now comes the most important question. Are you willing to make one small change each evening for the next 30 days if it could help you wake up feeling stronger, steadier, and more confident? That's all it takes. Not a big overhaul. Not a rigid plan. Just a simple, steady routine that includes foods or supplements rich in vitamin D and K2, paired with a little protein, and given time to do what your body is already built to do: heal. Here's what many older adults have reported during this 30-day shift. In the first week, that early morning stiffness starts to ease. Your legs may feel a little lighter. Your first steps become smoother. By the second week, the lingering soreness that used to follow you into the day begins to fade more quickly. By the end of the month, your balance feels stronger, and the effort it once took just to rise from a chair no longer feels like such a struggle. These are small changes, but they add up. Day by day, meal by meal, your body regains strength the quiet way, from the inside out. And these results aren't just based on stories. They're backed by clinical science. Studies have shown that consistent intake of vitamin D improves muscle performance within weeks. Other research confirms that vitamin K2 enhances bone density and reduces calcium buildup in arteries over time. A 2021 Japanese study found that seniors who added K2 to their routine for just 1 month showed measurable improvements in bone strength. And in Europe, researchers discovered that vitamin D helped reduce recovery time after physical exertion in older adults. 30 days may sound short, but for your body, it's long enough to begin a new rhythm, a rhythm of repair, of strength building, of waking up without fear of falling. And once the month ends, you may find that this challenge has become a habit, a gentle, lasting habit that supports you far beyond the calendar. So, as you move forward, remember this: your body is not wearing out, it's waiting for support. Strength and resilience are not things you left behind. They're things you can rebuild, step by step, choice by choice, starting tonight.